So moving on to success then. What's your definition of success? But yeah, what's your definition of success, and has that changed over the years?
I definitely think it's changed. Uh, it's really so. It feels like so. When I think about success now, I imagine almost like an end point, and the difference now is I see everything as the journey, and so there's it's not like a single success, but at the same time, for example, because achievement and meaning is important, I do set myself goals, so as personal goals or business goals of things I'd like to achieve and why I want to do that. So I guess for me, achieving those things, moving towards them, and then setting new ones is success. But and as part of that, my own goals are and aspirations are to be a great parent, to be a good role model for my children, to do good in the world, and to be able to share what I have to offer and hopefully have a positive impact for other people. So all those things I think are success, try and be a kind partner and wife, to try and be a thoughtful daughter. Sometimes, some of these relationships take effort, and they're all for me what, at the end, if we think of success more as, if I were to think of I'm at the end of my life and I want to look back, what do I really want people to have experienced and say about me? What's the impact I'd like to have? For me, that's what success is, that positive impact.
Yeah, and is that different to when you were younger and flying around the world? And
yeah, I don't think I was thinking about things that I was thinking probably about achievement more, but in the moving up the ladder. And I've never been it's not always been about money, although of course it's nice to be rewarded and nice to be able to do things with the money. But I think success for me was probably more about that badge, or I've become the manager and now I'm at the next level, and that's that bit that's when that danger, of course, because you've become so ingrained in that identity and those badges, if that's pulled out from under you, that's when it can be really destabilizing, because you've wrapped your whole self up in that, and that's not who we are or what life is.
Yeah.
But it's not so easy to know that when you're young.
No.
And of course ambition and wanting to succeed is a good thing, because that's what gives people drive and something to work towards.
Yeah. So on that note then, what would your younger self say if they could see you now?
I thought you'd look older by now. I think they'd look and they'd say, I'm quite proud that you've been able to not just be one thing for you, and to be able to see, to perhaps to continue to broaden your view on the world, to not just be, that broad perspective. I always used to love life and people, and it's like it's more whole now. That's very difficult to explain that. I think they'd be my younger self might say, I'm proud that you've become more selfless.
Yeah.
That you think of others more and others' emotions more, and you have the tools to help you to do that.
Yeah. Well, I think it is, you're not self-centered as a young person, but the world is just in your narrow focus, isn't it, of what you've experienced at that point, and then it's only as you experience life that broadens out.
Yeah, it's a hard question, isn't it?
Yeah. Because normally they ask you, what would you say to your younger self?
Yeah.
So I try and flip that, because I think it's interesting, because I think we don't perhaps reflect back enough on how far we've come, especially if we're always looking forward, but also if we are hard on ourselves, if that's one of our saboteurs. It's good to take stock and go, oh, actually, done all right.
Yeah, and but even looking back, I think, you know, that piece we talked around earlier about, I didn't worry back then, and that's a good thing. To encourage yourself to not take things too seriously, to not be too worried. You know, like, we never know what's round the corner, so just to keep moving forward and enjoying, not just, you know, obviously it's not just about enjoyment and taking from life, but giving, and just not worrying too much about what's happened, because you never know. So when the positive intelligence program, one of the things they talk about is always trying to find the gift. So if we think sometimes in a given moment in life we can attach to something, like if the water tips all over the table, we can go, oh no, it's ruined the table. And we can't know that maybe 10 weeks later, I don't know, it's a funny example, but something's happened on the table, or the plant's grown because it got water and it would never have got water. That's a really silly example. But you can't, in a given moment, you can't know whether something's really good or bad, because sometimes things come about us as of situations that turn into good things further down the line. And I think if we can think of life like, you know, there could be a gift in this. We might not be able to see it right now, but there might be a gift. It can take some of the edge out of some of the more challenging moments of life.
Yeah, well, I think the classic example I always use as a Buddhist is if you're stuck behind a tractor going slowly and you're like, oh, I'm going to be late. But that tractor could be stopping you from being in an accident.
Yes.
And because it's saying, the universe is saying, right, no, you need not to be there right now because something's going to happen or whatever. And that's that. It's a very sort of Buddhist approach to go, well, what is the lesson in this? What is the gift?
Yeah.
I think that's a perfect way to wrap things up. So thank you very much for being a guest.
Oh,
Where can everyone find you if they want to find out more?
So you can find me at For Positive Growth, so that's a number 4 and then the word positive growth, all, and you will be able to find me either in my emails, caroline@forpositivegrowth.co.uk, but you'll find me on Facebook, on Instagram, and somewhere hidden all over the internet, probably.
Well, obviously we'll link to you as well, but it's good for people in case they want to find out a bit more. But thank you for that. It was personally very inspirational for me. I could talk to you all day.
Yes.
Thanks for being such a great guest.
Thank you for having me. It's been lovely.
Great.